Hi everyone, what about you? My name is Philip from My Apple in Carrickfergus, and today I'm going to show you how I repair the screen on your iPhone 6s. It's a pretty straightforward repair. It should only take me about 25 minutes, but please do not attempt this repair unless you are a competent technician. So let's get the glasses on and get on with it. Okay, so this is the phone we're going to work on today. It's an iPhone 6s, as I previously mentioned. If you were attempting this repair yourself, the tools you might get from some of those spurious screens you see on popular auction sites would be a pentalobe screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver, a spudger, and also a suction cup. I have my own tools, so I'll just leave these to the side for now. So, pre-repair checks I would do. First of all, I'm going to look at the phone to make sure there's no major damage. Now, obviously, if you have a phone coming in, there might be some sort of ding on it. Obviously, the screen might be broken. I'm going to make sure that the home button works. Also, I'm going to make sure that the Touch ID works on the phone. Very, very easy to break or damage the home button when this is being done. I'm going to make sure the power button works. It's fine. Your volume up buttons, your volume down, side switch off and on. I'm also going to check the camera. Yeah, that's okay. Forward camera. Oh, hello. Yeah, that's all okay. So yeah, and I'm also going to check the sound on the phone as well to make sure there's no damage to the speakers. Oh, wrong one. Yep, all good. Okay, I'm happy with that. So time to turn the phone off and take the screen off. Okay, first what we're going to do is take out the pentalobe screws. Now be very careful not to scratch around the two holes for the pentalobes here, especially if the phone is black, because you will see the scratch all day long. These little things can be quite tricky sometimes, so patience is the key. Also, I can't emphasize enough how important screw management is. Keep all your screws together and in the right order, because Apple do not make it easy for you to take these screens off. Now, this screen has been replaced before, so I know it'll come off pretty easy. If a screen has never been replaced, what you would have to do is use the likes of a heat gun or hair dryer or something to go around the outside of the screen to heat up the adhesive. But I'm pretty sure this will come off pretty easy, so I don't need this. So we have our suction cup. Put it on here. We're going to pull it back slightly. I'm lucky to have a little fingernail that I would use to go around the outside. Break that adhesive. And that's it. Just be careful as you're opening the phone. And there we are. That's the inside of your iPhone 6s. Now I have a handy little tool for this sort of thing, which is here. So we'll pop that in there. Wrong way around, Philip. And that goes up there like that. Okay, so first things to come out are your two Phillips screwdrivers, one here and one here. That holds down your battery connector. Let's take those out. There we go, first one out. Let's remagnetize this screwdriver. There we go. And the second one. There we go. Again, keep all your parts. What I do is keep my parts in order. So it's a matter of working forward and then working back the way. Camera connector is just here, so use a fingernail or your spudger just to disconnect the battery. If you don't disconnect the battery, you have a likelihood of blowing the backlight, which if I do one, I'll make a video on that at a later date. Next thing to do is to remove your screen connector bracket. You have 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, these are all varying sizes, so keep them in order. It's very important. 1, 2, and finally 4. This video is being done in real time, just so you know that how long it actually takes me to do. That's the bracket off, put to one side. Okay, so here we have three connectors. 1, 2, and 3. I think this one's your home button connector. Then you have your touch and then your LCD. Very, very careful doing this. You have a lot of small components there that could nick off without even knowing. And that's it. That's your screen disconnected. Done. Now, we're done with this bit for now, so that goes out of the way. And we have the screen. Now, the order I'm going to do this is, first of all, your home button. 3 screws here. They're going to come off. Your speaker. You have 1, 2, 3, and on the 6S, an extra one here, 4. And then finally your thermal plate. You have 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So first of all, let's see your home button. One and 2. So that those 2 screws, 3 screws, hold in your home button bracket. We'll just take that off. That's it. Now, this is your home button here, and this is the connector for it. This thing is very, very fragile, so I can't emphasize how important it is to take your time and have a bit of patience around this. Let's see. Okay, that's off. Now, this little bit here is secured with some adhesive, so this needs some heat. So we're not going to put heat directly onto this bit here where all your little components are. We're going to apply the heat to this side. Now, I've got a hot air station for this. I'm not going to tell you the temperatures I use. That's something you have to work out for yourself. But generally, what I do, I put a finger here, and when my finger heats up, that's when it's time to take off the heat. And you don't want to keep the heat in one place either. You'll see I'm moving the heat gun sort of around in circles so the heat isn't overly focused on one area. Getting warmer now. That should be it. Okay. Now, to get underneath the ribbon cable, I'm going to use a flat tipped set of tweezers with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, which will dissolve or loosen the glue. I'm going to go under the cable and it pops up like that. And on the 6S, it pushes in or pushes out from the outside. There we go. That's your home button. All off. Okay, next to do is your speaker, camera, and microphone ambient light sensor assembly. So, again, just be very careful. That's the first one out. Second one. Third. And this little cheeky one here to the side. There we go. And number 4 is out. Okay, this bracket should just come right off like this. Now, this is your forward-facing camera. It lifts up out of the way like this. Now, be careful as you move this here. You don't want to get any fingerprints or anything on it. This is your ear speaker. Maybe do a bit of a clean, I think. This is your ambient light sensor, and also your microphone is next. These 2 little things here. See that? 1 and 2. Now, this is stuck in place with the microphone here. So we'll need to give that some heat as well. Again, same process as the home button. Finger is actually on the microphone itself. I'm going to heat around. Again, not keeping the heat concentrated on any one place. And just when my finger gets warm, that's when I know it's time to attempt to remove it. There we go, that seems fine. Now, that's that, and off it comes. Easy. That's that bit done. Now, final bit, your thermal plate, 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yeah. Now these screws are very small, very fiddly. Watch they don't badoing all over the place. 1, 2, 3rd one, oh, 3. There we go, that's that one there. Thought I'd lost a screw there. And you know, this is much harder to do when you're making a video, you know that? 5 and 6. Great stuff. Now your thermal plate should just lift straight off. Let's see, here we are, everything okay? Oh yeah, sometimes one way to tell if the screens have never been changed before, there will be tape here and here. So if you remember which, this has obviously been repaired before, so it's still no harm to put the tape back. So if the tape's there, put it back, but it's not overly, well, I don't think it's overly important anyway. So if that comes there, now what's been, oh yeah, a bit of adhesive there. That's the screen disassembled. Now let's prep the new screen. So I don't use any auction sites to get my screens, for the simple fact there's a lot of screens out there, a lot of choice, a lot of very cheap ones, and it's very, very hard to know which ones are good quality, which ones are bad. I have a supplier in Belfast, in Northern Ireland where I live, who supplies all of my screens, and they're always top quality. So your new screen might come something like this. So let's prepare the screen for all the components to go back in again. The hard bit's really over. This bit is pretty easy. Now for the purposes of this video, this thing here, sometimes if you buy a screen, you would get an adhesive strip with it. This helps, this goes around the outside of your phone, helps seal it in or seal out any moisture, etc, etc. Now this one actually still has its original seal intact, so we're going to leave it as it is. Okay, so there's your new screen. On the back you might have something like this. Now these bits are really fiddly. Be very careful if yours has a tab like this, because you don't want to lift the tab up and ruin this ribbon cable here as he struggles with it. There we go. And again, watch any pressure you put on this. You don't want to crack your LCD. That's it. Off. Then this bit comes off as well. You wouldn't believe how many phones I've got in for repair. They've been repaired maybe by somewhere else that have this still on the back. It's not supposed to be there, so take it off. Also, you have your little adhesive bit for your upper cable assembly. That comes off as well. There we are. And we'll just put the old screen out of the way. Okay, so time to put everything back on again. So the last thing off, first thing on, you have your thermal plate. This goes over this ribbon cable here. So let me just show you that again. This cable here, this goes over the top of it like this. Again, sometimes I've got some in for repair and they've been put like this, which isn't right. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be under your thermal plate. That's it. Little tabs line up. Now comes the tricky bit. So 6 screws of your thermal plate to go back on again. Be very careful, take your time doing this. Third one going in now. You know, I've done this so many times. If you're starting your journey on the career of repair, just really take your time. Think about everything you're going to do before you actually do it, and be very careful with your screws that they don't go everywhere. Okay, so your thermal plate is on. Can you remember what goes on next? Yep, it's going to be your upper speaker assembly. So the first bit has to go on is going to be, where are you? Let me see. Where's the camera? Where's the thing? Okay. Microphone is the first bit that's going to go back in. Now down here you have a little nib it goes onto. So you have to line that up properly. And once it's lined up, everything else should go into place. Now be very careful of this. This is your microphone. Next bit, you have two holes here. And these go in there like that. Excellent. Okay, that's in. Now, if I remember, I'm going to give this little speaker a bit of a clean with some isopropyl alcohol. So, looks a bit tatty. Of course, that'll be full of, well, I'm not going to say, you might be having your dinner. Okay. Now, it's not that I'm getting it overly wet. It's isopropyl alcohol, 99.9%, so it will evaporate, which it has done already. Excellent. Okay, this is going to marry up with these little contacts here. God, it's much harder doing this when you're taking a video. Good grief. There we are. That pops into there like that. You'll feel it pop into place. And it should just sit, if everything's lined up correctly, it should just sit there like this. Your forward-facing camera folds over. And I'm not sure if you can see on the camera there. Let's see. You have, no, you can't really see it. You have two little nibs that line up, one there and one there. And if they're lined up on their little pegs, everything is in place. That's all in place. We need the bracket. Bracket goes over the top like this. Now, so we'll just keep everything in place there. Excellent. And we'll put the 4 screws back in again. There's the first one in. Could be safe to let go. 1, 2. Second one down. Now you want to make sure the screws are tight, but not overly tight. You'd have a risk of breaking your screen then. There we go. Final screw is just going to go in here. Excellent. Okay, so last thing we're going to do is put the home button back in again. Now, your home button connector is just here. There's a small little lip that this fits behind. So we're going to push it very, very gently. You don't want to damage the contacts here. So it sits in place properly. Your home button, again, be very, very careful with this. Goes into the slot like this. And there's 2 little guide nibs, if that's the correct word, where the ribbon cable slots into. And it should only be a matter of folding over the connector, and it should connect in place just like that. Be very, very careful with your home button. Right, home button bracket, retaining bracket goes in. And again, there's a little nib just on there as well. It shows it's lined up properly, just here. And 3 screws, 2 for the bracket itself and 1 for the thermal plates. So, first one to go on, it's going to be here. 1. And 2. Again, these screws are all different sizes, so make sure you keep them all very, very well organized. And 3, or else you'll get what's called long screw damage, and the screw could actually poke through the screen itself. That's it, the screen is complete. So, reinstallation. I prefer not to have this little bit on when I'm doing this. Now, this is the tricky bit. So what I do is I fold everything back. Again, be very careful, these ribbon cables, they're very fragile. First one to go on is your home button cable. You'll just have to feel around to feel that it's going to go into place. And you click like that. Second one, click. Third and last one. Doesn't appear to want to go in. Again, don't force it, because if you damage the connector, that's a whole world of pain. Right, so that's in place. We'll put that little bit back on again. Keeps that out of the way while I'm doing the battery connector. What we'll do first, we'll reattach the battery connector. Now the phone is now live, and I'm going to test everything in the phone to make sure it all works properly. Shouldn't have really put that in, but anyway. Okay, so press the home button. Hopefully the screen will come on. There we are. Again, take your time on this. It's not a race. The more you rush, the more chances there are that you'll actually make some sort of mistake, and you don't want to do that, especially if you're working on someone else's phone. Okay, so the screen's on. There's touch. Home button works. Now, if there'd been any damage to the touch ID or home button might not work, and there would be a message saying that the touch ID has been damaged. So obviously there's no damage here, it's fine. Cameras are okay. Oh, hold on. Let's take this off. Camera's on. Forward camera, yeah, it'll be blurry because this is on. There we go. Hello. That's that. Your volume up, volume down is fine. Switch on, switch off, and power button works. Excellent. So let's just turn it back off again. The reason why we do that is there's no point in closing the whole phone up and then checking to make sure everything's okay, because then you have to open it back up again. So that's done. So we'll put this back into our little holder again. I don't normally use this actually, but I'm just doing it for using it for the sake of the video, which is a bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. So I will put the cable brackets, retaining bracket back up here. So we're just working backwards. Last one out, first one in. Just line it up right. That's it all in place. The second one. Third. Again, you just want to put the screws in tight enough that they're holding, but not over tight, because you don't want to risk any damage to the logic board. Just take your time. And finally, the battery connector retaining bracket. So last one out, first one in. One and two. Screws are very, very fiddly. Done. Excellent. So there we go. Well, just a quick final inspection, basically for me to make sure that I haven't left anything out. Everything looks okay. No damage to the battery. Nothing obviously missing. Everything's okay on the new screen. We're going to line up. There's two little hooks on the end of the screen here. Lining them up, we're pushing it down, making sure it's all level up to here. Now what I do is I make sure this bit goes in first, like that, and then you'll hear it click into place around the side. If you feel any resistance, please don't push it too hard, you'll break your LCD. Now I just change bits into the pentalobe. Wrong one, Philip, get the right one. The final bit of the puzzle, putting your pentalobe screws back in again. One. Oh. and 2. There we are, done. Make sure it switches back on again. Perfect. That's it. That's how I change the screen on an iPhone 6s. I say if you do have any comments or queries, please do log them at the bottom of this video. Otherwise, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.